Hey, Richard Lewis here, old and gray bicycle shop owner, working on bikes for the last 20 years as a bike shop owner, but also almost all of my whole life. So I have some skills, as the old joke goes. This is a Tektro brake caliper, and this is right off of my 2.0 electric bike. You're going to find a caliper like this is used on many of the electric models, including the 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. Some of the other bikes, like the Expedition, has hydraulic brakes. So if it has caliper brakes that are a cable pull, then it probably has a brake system much like this. It's either a Tektro probably on your bike, or it's an imitation Tektro. So that is going to be a common one that you'll see. I'm going to show you several different things about this caliper. First off, I would say these brakes are excellent brakes. There's a lot of stuff on the different Facebook groups. I have one of the Facebook groups that I'm an admin on. There's a lot of talk about, oh, we got to get rid of the stock brakes. Well, actually, stock brakes are pretty doggone good. So I think if you optimize these brakes, they work quite well. I'm going to show you today how to remove the pads from the brakes, check the wear on the pads, and so that is something that you can do yourself. Now, I'm going to point out that the average bike shop changes many brake pads, adjusts many derailleurs on a given day. So they are going to be better at this than you are. They are going to be better than you are after you have watched 37 different YouTube videos that tell you how to do this. And that's just because you do this once in a while and they do it many times every day and they get really, really good at it. All right, I'm going to kind of go over the caliper here. This is the barrel adjuster on the caliper, and it has a mate here, the barrel adjuster on the brake handle. Those can be used in unison to effectively change the cable tightness, which would make your brake tighter or looser. So that's something you can do on the fly when you're riding up here at the brake handle. You can stop real quick, make an adjustment here if your brakes are dragging and so on. So that's what that is for. You want to be sure that this clamp bolt, the cable clamp bolt, is tightened down correctly. And I'll give you a torque value on that I'll put in the description on the video. If that isn't tight, it can slip through. So if you're messing with your brake system and you mess it up, you could have a very bad day at the bottom of a steep hill. Your shifting system might drive you crazy if you mess it up, but your brake system could fail you, and it could result in a serious incident. So if you don't know what you're doing, then don't go any further than this. All right, this is a cotter pin that holds the brake shoes in. It normally is bent over on this end. I have straightened that bend. That pin needs to be replaced anytime you're doing brake shoe servicing. So just keep in mind you need a new cotter pin for that. If you buy a new set of shoes, most likely it's going to come with the cotter pin. I'm going to give you a link in the description to the Tektro shoes that are popular as replacements. Okay, we'll pull that out. And we've got two shoes in here. Come on. There's one. And there's number two. And there is the return spring. So that spring goes in that position. And when these pads are in there, this is what it looks like. Okay, it's going to pinch down on the rotor, and that's what's going to stop you, that little brake shoe. Just to show you up close on this is almost a brand new pair of shoes. You'll notice that the pad material here is about twice the thickness as the metal backing plate. And this is very similar to an automotive or a motor vehicle counterpart. If that pad wears down to where there's no pad left, then you're going to have very little friction between the steel backing plate and your rotor. So you got to be sure that you don't get to that stage of wear. Right now, this is twice as much. If I got this down to where it was half of that, then I'd be replacing pads. The pad can be resurfaced. If the pad has picked up any debris or something, but still is in good shape here, you can put this face down onto some very fine emery cloth or sandpaper and put it on a very flat surface like your marble kitchen countertop or a glass table, and you can move that back and forth over the abrasive, and redress this area. So that'd give you an idea what those shoes look like. Very simple to stick back in, and the cotter pin's going to go back in there to locate them. So looking at this closer, if this was on the bike, the wheel would be here and the rotor would be coming up through this pocket here. When you put on the brakes, you'll notice that only the piston on the outside moves in. So if you look down in that pocket, you can see it moving in. The inside pad is fixed, and it is positioned by this little silver adjuster screw here. I'll turn that for you, and you can hear it making some clicking noises. Those are detents in that. It allows you to adjust it to get the pad closer, so you can see it's now coming into where it makes it a little bit closer. The goal is to have both of these pads as absolutely close to the rotor as possible. And if the rotor has deflection in it, so if it has some run out to where it's wiggling back and forth, you want to try and straighten that. Now, Bike Shop will have a park tool that fits over the rotor, and they actually bend the rotor slightly. It's not unusual to have the rotor have run out. That's one area that you may want to have your local bike shop do. If you want to grab onto with a crescent wrench and have at it, you can do that, but that's a little bit risky. If you want to check the rotor for any material that might have gotten onto it, you may have sprayed your chain and gone crazy in the back wheel, hit the rotor with some lubricant, that may have affected your braking negatively. Then get some 90% rubbing alcohol, clean off the rotors, both front and rear, inside and outside, manually, not spinning the wheels. The rotors are extremely sharp, you'll cut yourself. So don't do that. Especially don't power up the rear wheel and stick your hand anywhere near that rotor with your microfiber cloth with alcohol on it, because you can easily cut your fingers real seriously. So that'll give you some ideas, and have a good time and enjoy your electric bike. They're great bikes.